I'll just say this is part 2. Okay,
Yes.
so you had the couple of kids were left solo, you can repartner. Okay, so you had the one student who was here, and she had her hand up for quite a long time. I don't know if you didn't see it. You looked at her a couple times, but then no one ever addressed her question. So that's really something, answering questions for students.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I was pretty sure that she wanted me to sign her agenda to go get a drink of water or use the bathroom or something like that.
Oh, wish that student does that.
That's a standard procedure, and I really like it because no one has to say anything. So they have their agenda. They have a special page where they write where the time, my name, the date, and what they want to do. Is it go get a drink of water, go use the bathroom? And they raise their hand and they don't say anything, and I come by and I look at it and then I sign it as I'm delivering the lecture. And there's no interruption, there's no discussion. I do that with my own discretion, and where I feel like, okay, we're at a place where it's sort of a pause in the action. You can step out and then come back and do that, or no, not till I'm done with this section of what I'm trying to get through. Okay. And
but I don't recall seeing anything on her desk.
Oh,
she was just sitting there really. I think maybe she was looking for a partner. I don't know. I wasn't sure what it was.
Okay, I may have misinterpreted that.
Plus, you have me there watching everything you're doing too, so that doesn't probably help either.
Yeah. So I need to pay attention to that and make sure that it's not a question about what I'm actually trying to deliver. Yeah,
because you do want to think also about there's some questions that probably need to be. You can ask me at the end, but just always remember that sometimes students really do have questions they need answered. They're confused or they're lost. So that was just something I noticed.
Okay.
Then you reinforced behavior for a few students you noted were on task, which was great. And then there was one student who did not bring her Chromebook, had her behavior reinforced by not giving her an alternative plan or writing on paper. She wasn't doing anything but holding 3 pencils. The young lady up over here.
Yeah, and I'm struggling with this. I don't like to put students in that position, but I feel like if I do, they're going forward, they're going to bring their Chromebook charged, and they need to do that. And if they know they've got a fallback plan, I think that is not going to reinforce having their own Chromebook charged and brought to class like they're supposed to.
Okay, but you still need to have an alternative plan, because having kids sitting there doing nothing is a really poor message to kids. That was the thing. So I know when kids didn't bring their stuff, they had to sit next to somebody. If it was a book, they got to read together. Or they would take all the notes on a piece of paper. I didn't make it painless.
That would be a good alternative, a standard procedure for me. Okay, you don't have your Chromebook, you get out a paper and pencil.
That's right.
And that's what I should do.
Yeah, and so I'm just bringing that up because she knows that whenever she doesn't want to do something, her Chromebook could just be not working. And then she gets out of learning for the day. So oftentimes we give kids free passes thinking that we're being punitive and it's going to change behavior. But what changes behavior is giving them something they really don't want to do when they could have been doing what you want.
And that was actually my whole reason for not giving her a Chromebook is to give that sense of, oh, I don't want this to happen again.
Has it happened? Has it worked for that girl before?
Yeah, the Chromebook issues, I think that's getting cleaned up, except for a couple that I think they just have personal responsibility issues because it's not just their Chromebook. There's bringing your textbook to class and that kind of thing.
So it could be organizational issues that the kids are dealing with.
Yeah.
So this is where you should be knowing those things on your minor incident. Right, like you didn't bring your tools for learning. So I'm gonna note this today. I'm gonna call your mom, ask her to please make sure that she's sending you ready for the day. You need to take some responsibility, because if you see a kid has a pattern of this, there could be something else. Some kids have organizational structure disorders, and it doesn't matter. I mean, you could put everything in a pile for them, and by the end of the day, the pile's messed up, and they just don't know how to put it all back together. They get overwhelmed by some of those things. So you want to think about another way to address that versus saying no learning for you.
Yeah, okay.
Right, because then it says learning's not that important. Yeah, so I never let a kid just sit there. Here's a piece of paper there. Here's my piece. Oh, you don't have a pencil? Here's a pencil. But you're not going to sit here and do nothing. I need you to at least put your name on the paper. So that's something you want to remember.
Okay.
And then you also, I know you were handing out little M&Ms, but you might want to consider handing out like a candy or some reinforcement that you've not touched, like something that's wrapped. Because the little group of girls are trying to give their candy to somebody else because I think, you know, it'd been in your hands.
There was that big a deal
Yes.
that I had touched it just to hand it to them.
Yeah, and you have to remember we were a germophobic group of people. We know that germs are going around. Their parents probably tell them to wash their hands. So you might want to think of like maybe you dispense it from a container or it's a Tootsie Roll.
Something wrapped.
Yeah.
Something wrapped.
Yeah, like I wrote like a Tootsie Roll here. Or maybe, you know, you get the little packages of the M&M candy. I don't know.
Yeah, and we were studying Mars and their marketing of M&Ms.
Yes,
and that was part of what fueled my decision to use M&Ms.
Yeah. So think about like maybe next time if you know you're gonna do something with candy and you're buying a bag of something, wrap them in plastic baggies. And then you just use the reinforcement that way. Right now it's like a little bit too.
Yeah.
But that was something you might want to think about.
Okay.
I always come back to a student that I had who, one of my favorite students of all times, but she was a high functioning autistic kid. And she'd come into my classroom. She always had stomach issues. I had her after lunch. And she was like, Miss Hummon, oh, my stomach. I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, go to the bathroom. You can just go to the bathroom, girl. Not a big deal. So literally she comes back from the bathroom. She comes up to the desk and she goes, Miss Holman, this is for you. She had like a really, like a little accenty stutter thing. And I was like, oh, no. I go, what is, it's a cookie. And it was like a chocolate chip cookie. And I was like, remember she just told me how she had stomach cramps. And I was like, I said, well, I'm kind of on a diet. She's like, no, you don't need a diet, but I want you to have the cookie. And I was like, okay. So I took the cookie and I put it on my desk. And then after class, I threw it away. I was like, she touched it. I mean, I don't know where her hands had been. And I always remember that, you know, because it was with so much love and affection. But I was like, okay, I'm not eating the chocolate cookie, right? so that was one thing I'd say you want to talk about. You had a good use of using tools posted on your wall that directed the student's attention. The student chose describes. Students really liked when you the caca. We were talking about the caca.
Yeah. That came from one of my colleagues who was also my mentor.
Okay.
And when you need to remind them to use a comma, a quotation, and then a capital letter, you can't say the 3 C's or the 3 K's, but they all have the K sound.
Oh.
And so how do you, what do you use to reinforce the 3 K sounds? So he said the 3 cacas. And they just get a hoot out of that.
What does the caca stand for?
It is comma, quotation marks,
quotation,
capital letter.
Oh.
And there are ways of starting your quotation without a capital letter when you're nabbing your quotation mid-sentence, but we're not going there.
You're not doing the 3 ellipsis point yet?
Right, exactly. We've got to keep it simple. Yeah, so you're going to start your quotation at the beginning of a sentence, and you're going to put a capital letter there. That's the 3 cacas.
Okay, I was like, the boys love that.
They never forget it, and it's such a hoot, and it's just...
Well, they were liking it. So those are really good strategies, right? That brings joy.
Humor. Yeah, yes. I like using humor. Sometimes, because of the maturity level, they'll take the humor and run with it and get the class out of control and going a little crazy. So there's managing that aspect of it that's kind of tricky, but I do like to use humor. Yeah.
I loved it. I kind of liked hearing them laughing because that felt good to me when I was watching that. So you had a good use of your Google Doc that you were modeling the learning on. Good use of really guiding the students to the next set and what to do. And I just put, I will share the hard copy, which is this one from your observation tool. I watched you, but next time we'll video and you can watch yourself.
Okay.
And so we've already kind of talked about this, but you know, you were working, like you said, the praise to correction is kind of difficult, but you're making an effort. You're explaining the expectations. But one thing I would suggest is that you have students restate your expectations. This is a great, turn and talk to your partner A, tell partner B. And they already know, maybe every day you just say, who's going to be partner A, who's going to be partner B, right? If you're going to do just practicing with partners first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then you have Jenny turn and talk to your partner, and then you ask one student to restate. It seems like that's cutting into your learning, but it's really not to the teaching because the kids already now have been reinforced with what it is that is supposed to happen. And your kid that would have been lost or thinking about the not feeling well from his lunch or whatever, that's another opportunity to hear from a peer's voice as well.
The other thing that I had not taken into consideration, and I'm thinking of it now, is this is a way of checking for understanding as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way. And the beautiful thing is when kids get to talk to each other, one kid might not have known it, but they've had an opportunity to learn it again.